my attorney reaction to some trending news. Now, you all, if you're in the trending news, black YouTube space, you all may remember one of my favorite shows, hey, created by an alumni from my undergrad, the Boondocks. And they had a story that was hilarious. If you're unfamiliar with the real life events, Latarian Milton. Now, we got to talk about Latarian Milton because he was a young man who early on found himself kind of ablaze because he just had an urge to engage in hood rat behavior. And the Boondocks, hey, they created this parody. I actually didn't know it was a real story until after I saw the Boondocks episode, which made it even more hilarious. But let's take a look at these videos because I want y'all to get an understanding of how Latarian Milton went from the preschool to prison pipeline. We're going to take a look at what he's currently doing now. But we're going to talk about another event where an 8-year-old decided to take a family member's car and go for a joyride. We're going to compare and contrast the two. Let's dive in. And before we even start, I don't know what it is about this image, but this image, this image is hilarious because he's just so small and his clothes are so big and he's just so mad hood. So I don't know. It's kind of funny. It's sad and it was funny simultaneously. Let's dive into the story. Let's get it.
Latarian Milton is not your typical 7-year-old. Few his age have ever driven an SUV up and down several busy streets. It all started at his mother's townhouse. Latarian says he took the car keys and hopped into his grandmother's Dodge Durango.
When I came through the back door, I looked on the counter. My keys were gone.
I took my grandma's car because I got mad at my mom, and then I saw him had my friend come in, and he smoked with cigarettes.
He started the vehicle and put it into gear.
I yanked the thing.
And off they went. 2 7-year-olds alone on the road. Latarian drove several miles through Lake Park and Palm Beach Gardens.
We got the one call that I told you about of a driver in the vehicle who looked too short to be able to see over the steering wheel.
Along the way, he ran over 2 mailboxes, hit 2 parked cars in a Costco parking lot, and struck 2 moving cars near Walmart.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things. Drive into a car.
But did you know that you could perhaps kill somebody?
Yes, but I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
It all ended on Investment Lane and Consumer Drive. That's where Latarian hit the curb and sideswiped the sign. The SUV took most of the beating, snapping off one of his axles and wheels. A grandmother's rage.
I want to whip his behind. That's what I want to do right now. If I thought they wouldn't take me to jail, I'd whip his behind right now.
You don't think he should be punished for all of this?
There's a whole legal doctrine called discipline. Discipline.
And
Grandma, you could have looked
that for police.
Are you sorry? You understand that now your grandma's going to have to pay to have those cars fixed because you hit those cars.
Can my mom help her?
That was Latarian Milton's entrance into becoming an overnight celebrity because of bad conduct that really shouldn't have happened. He definitely should have had that ass whipped, Grandma. I don't know if you did it after you got home, but hey, I would have spared a rod, spoiled a child. There's a legal doctrine called discipline. There's a line between abuse and discipline, and you can discipline your child or children in your care, but that's a whole nother story. Now let's look at this second story because just several weeks later, he was back in the news and Grandma was back in the news, and it's just an absolute shit show. Let's take a look.
The incident happened when the 7-year-old directed his anger towards his grandmother. In the end, authorities felt it was enough to bring him in for a mental evaluation.
This was 2 weeks. Hey, poor kid. Well, he an adult now, so fuck it. But this was 2 weeks later. He steals the car. 14 days later, he's back in the news.
Crashing into a curb and sign.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
But on Monday, Latarian took his bad boy image to a new level inside this Lake Park Walmart.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at it because it's sad. It's more sad than funny. But I thought this was completely made up when I was watching the Boondocks. And like, man, this is the blackest. Like, this is like terrible on so many levels. The kid is acting mad hood, or he's mad hood. He's in a Walmart. It's over chicken. It's just like absolutely terrible.
She said no. He got mad, walked over and ordered them anyway. When his grandmother confronted him about it, Latarian snapped.
They started hitting me. They started hitting me in front of the whole Walmart, and everyone in there was upset. In my stomach, in my legs, wherever he could reach me, that's where he hit me.
By late afternoon, Riviera Beach police picked up Latarian from home and took him to the hospital for a mental evaluation.
And I know what causes this behavior because all he's ever seen was his parents do physical, abusive, and verbal things. And I don't want him to continue in this direction, so I'm doing the best I can to get him the help.
Lakita Stratford worries about what will happen once Latarian is released. She's trying to get her SUV repaired and at the same time keep her rental car out of harm's way.
When I first got the rental, let me take this for a spin. And so now I just sleep with the keys, I lock them up.
Latarian could be released after 72 hours. She hopes health officials can diagnose the problem and help him get the proper kind of help.
Okay, that was his second video bad behavior that just kind of made him very popular, but he just was on a straight preschool to prison pipeline. Let's take a look at the third story before we dive into this new story of this new driver, and we're going to compare and contrast. And I want y'all to let me know, is this new child on the preschool to prison pipeline? We're going to talk about it. Story number 3, Milton, that's his name on Boondocks. Latarian Milton, let's get it.
That's right. And Latarian Milton spent about 10 minutes in court this morning. He learned that he will not be able to go home anytime soon. He will have to wait to hear from the judge the next court date. We last spoke with Latarian Milton in 2015. He had just completed middle school and was looking forward to the next step.
I get to school in high school because be able to play on the football team, have some good success there.
This is Milton entering a West Palm Beach courtroom Monday to face charges stemming from an armed robbery and carjacking. Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies say a Lyft driver picked up 4 young males and a female early Sunday morning and drove them to Wendora Way in West Palm Beach. That's where the female exited the vehicle. Investigators say the suspects told the driver to take them to another location. When the driver refused, authorities say one of the suspects pulled out a handgun and hit the driver in the back of the head. The driver says he got out of the car and was robbed of his wallet and jacket. He later told deputies that Milton, who was in the front passenger seat, got out and hopped into the driver's seat and sped away with the other suspects. According to investigators, the driver gave detectives a phone number, which led to the identification of Milton. Deputies arrested Milton Sunday afternoon. We first met.
Clearly, he didn't learn anything after all of his behavior and conduct as a child, or just even have the brain power to use regular God-given common sense. You're going to try to rob the Uber driver that's linked to an account for one of the persons who are actually committing the robbery in the car. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Back in court, the judge ordered Milton to remain at a juvenile facility until his next court date.
Okay, so that was where Milton Tayshawn, that's not even his name. I keep confusing him with the I keep confusing him with the Boondocks now. The Boondocks name is hilarious. Latarian Milton ended up. Now, afterwards, I was looking because I was like, well, what is he doing now? Is he still in custody? Stories are a little bit kind of out there. But at some point, I will tell you, and I want to show y'all this so we can pull it up real quick. As we can see from the video on the screen, at some point, this young man was making music. You can guess what the music was about, getting money and doing street shit. But, that's kind of where this story ended up. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all find any updates as to what's going on with this gentleman, this young man in 2024. Hopefully he got his shit together, but I don't know. It was looking like straight preschool to prison pipeline. Now, as terrible as that situation was, and this young man just had a kind of downward trajectory, lo and behold, one of my good friends, shout out to the supporter of the channel, just sent me this story, and I was like, damn, what's up with 7 and 8-year-olds stealing their family members' cars? But let's compare and contrast, because I don't know, this one may be a little bit different. Still terrible behavior, still conduct that needs to be rectified and immediately has some type of sanction, in my opinion, to let this child know that this isn't how we handle business. That's just how DFD would do it. But let's take a look at this story, and y'all tell me, do you all think these situations are analogous, or do you think they're a little bit different? And this situation doesn't necessarily have to have the downward trajectory that the previous situation with the person who liked doing hood rat things had. Let's get it.
8-year-old girl had places to be, and she took it upon herself to get there. This morning, she drove herself to Target. According to police, the girl lives in Bedford and drove to a Target in Bainbridge Township. News 5's Maya Lockett has more on what happened.
What started off as a missing child report soon turned into a busy day for an 8-year-old at this Target in Aurora.
He did advise the driver appeared to be small in stature, and she should be in that vehicle driving.
The driver was an 8-year-old girl who was originally reported missing along with the family's vehicle, a 2020 Nissan Rogue. In a press release from Bedford Police, family last saw the child around 7 a.m. A next-door neighbor provided the family and officers with Ring camera footage that showed the child got into the SUV and drove off around 7 a.m. alone.
Bainbridge located the vehicle so far, but not the child.
Officers learned through dispatch that Bainbridge PD had located the vehicle in the Target parking lot in their city.
Bainbridge does have the female juvenile.
Moments later, officers were able to locate the 8-year-old inside of the Target. On a Facebook post from Bedford Police, they said they did let her finish her Frappuccino.
This is awesome and like terrible simultaneously, but I think it's a little bit different. We're going to talk about it.
The girl admitted during her drive she struck a mailbox. Target employees told News 5 the child walked in with more than $400 and proceeded to walk around the store shopping for items and checking out. Now, police did make Target employees give the money that was spent inside the Target by the 8-year-old back to the family, and I did attempt to speak with the family today. However, they did not want to provide a comment. Reporting in Aurora, Maya Lockett, News 5.
Okay, now that we've seen all the videos, y'all let me know in the comments. Is this situation different from our first situation we looked at? I think so. I do think, hey, it's conduct that, like I said, it's bad conduct. A child shouldn't be comfortable, or a child should already, in my opinion, this is just me, I don't know, I can't speak. My children know I can leave my keys lying around, and I wish they would take those keys and go out into the. My kids don't even get something out of my car without them saying, hey, I got to grab something out of your car. But hey, I get it. Everybody is different. But I do think these situations are different. When we look at the first situation, and hey, I'm going to just keep it a buck. This young lady been here before. This 8-year-old girl is literally like 53 years old or something on the inside, because our first situation, the car was taken just to joyride. The kid in that situation at the time, he busted the axle. He hit other cars. This young girl actually took the vehicle, drove the vehicle over 15 miles away. She only hit one mailbox, had the wherewithal to actually know how to get where she wanted to go at 8 years old, which is a big deal. Parked the vehicle, got out now. Where she got the $400 from, I'm assuming she probably snatched it or took it out of somebody's purse, but proceeded to go shopping in Target, but not before she bought her Starbucks Frappuccino. So like this girl, like the reason that, again, both conduct is not good conduct, but what I'm looking at is the reason that the conduct was done, right? One reason was just to joyride and do hood rat things. The other reason was a strategic purpose. They weren't out to go do hood rat things. They weren't out to steal. They had money to make the purchases. So I think this situation is a little bit different. I don't know. I think it's hilarious. It's kind of sad, but it's more hilarious. I pray that this young girl, this little girl, doesn't have a downward trajectory like our first story did. And I think that the rationale for what she was doing, it does have an impact and play a difference in looking at the distinctions between these two things for me. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment. So y'all let me know, is her behavior equal to his, or is it worse or better? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments.